And we build a legacy deck around this cEDH commander. Also, what's going on with this pose? Surely they knew, right? Right? Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another legacy video, and I've gone I've gone really deep into the jank today, and I'm excited because I'm really hoping that this works. So, two different donation deck lists are kind of coalescing into one here, and I'll talk about both. So, Eugene asked me to build around Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin, who has a very specific but very strong ability. There's a couple parts here. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly one life, you put a +1/+1 counter on this card, and then you get to exile the top card of your library. Until your next end step, you can play that card. So this is a card that scales up. This is a card that also gives you card advantage. And here's what Eugene wanted me to do. Eugene wanted me to play this alongside cards like Mana Bonds to kind of punish our opponents while also scaling up Ob Nixilis and drawing us some cards. And wouldn't you know it, there also was a recently printed card that deals exactly 1 damage to a player. It's a pretty fringe card, you might not have heard of it. It's Orcish Bowmasters. It can deal 1 damage to a person each time they draw a card, and when it enters the battlefield, it's like pretty okay. And this is where we get into kind of my second idea here, which comes from Derek, who wanted to see Orcish Bowmasters alongside Burning Inquiry, because the idea of drawing 3 cards and triggering Orcish Bowmasters 3 times is just delicious. And I didn't originally plan on combining these two ideas into one video. Don't worry, gentlemen, I'll kind of do some extra dealer's choice donation deck list to make up for combining your ideas. But let me show you my thought process. So the first draft of this deck that I built was actually built around this card right here. And I know this might sound weird to say, but this is actually a cEDH staple if you do play the Ob Nixilis deck, because it turns all of those card draws into pings. And if you control an Ob Nixilis, each one of those pings is then a +1/+1 counter, and basically a card draw, since you could play that next card the following turn. And so to take advantage of all of these extra card draws that I was going to get, I wanted a lot of fast mana. So I started building this deck with like Dark Rituals and Simian Spirit Guides and Artifact mana so that I could both power out Ob Nixilis and then like really use those cards that I got. And so once I started piecing this together, I actually moved to Firebrand Archer instead, because this doesn't require me to have a red permanent, and it kind of can take advantage of like the pseudo storm aspect that my deck has. And once I started going down this pseudo storm route, I went, well, how can I draw even more cards? And then the deck actually started coming together into something that was going to become playable instead of just total jank. So my idea here is to use the One Ring as a fog effect to buy me more time while also drawing me a lot of cards. And the final problem that I had in designing this deck was, how am I going to deal with all the life loss that I have? If I hurt myself with Mana Barbs, if I hurt myself with Ancient Tomb and the One Ring, how am I going to counteract that? And then I think I came across the portion of the deck that was actually broken, and that is pairing Sheoldred the Apocalypse with the One Ring. So the One Ring is going to lose me life over time, and that life only scales up a little bit, whereas the card draw scales up much faster. So imagine tapping the One Ring for X equals 3, and then, with 3 counters on it, you draw 4 cards, you gain 8 life, and that more than offsets the life that you are losing. And this is also something like Orcish Bowmasters that is going to be really good with Burning Inquiry. So after a lot of trial and error and a handful of watched cEDH videos doing some research for this, this is what I ended up deciding that we are going to play today. Now, today's video is sponsored by both Moxfield.com and CoolStuffInc.com. Remember, if you ever need any paper cards, Cool Stuff Inc. is a great place to shop, and promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. So we are essentially taking maybe like a red-white initiative shell and swapping the lands around. We don't get to play Cavern of Souls anymore because like we do actually need colored pips to cast our spells. They're not all going to be attached to creatures. But the idea is that we have an absolutely absurd amount of acceleration towards the One Ring or Ob Nixilis. And either one of those, in theory, should refund all of this mana that we are using in the early game. And we have a good amount of, I guess, what I'll call Punisher cards that we can go and use. We are going to be a little bit heavy on wanting to find one of these two cards in every game, but I also consider just playing an early Sheoldred perfectly reasonable by legacy standards. So in theory, our keepable hands should contain one of these 12 cards, or maybe something like a Bowmasters plus a Burning Inquiry, or maybe multiple of these cards is going to be fine. Now, to play this weird pseudo storm pinger deck, I do have to make some sacrifices, and those sacrifices are going to come basically at the hands of combo decks. I don't have things like Chalice of the Void or Trinosphere in here, which means my sideboard cards are, generally speaking, going to be very pointed at beating combo. So we're going to do some respect for Graveyard combo, some respect for Artifact combo, and decks like 8-cast, and a couple Pyroblasts to round things out. And then we only get like 6 cards for fair matchups. I'm going 2 more Mana Barbs for their utility against grindy control decks, and 4 Sheoldred's Edict, because this covers creature removal while also going and dealing with Planeswalkers, which is something my deck might deal with. There is another card that I considered playing. I considered playing Hidetsugu Consumes All in the Meltdown slots, as that's a little bit more generic, but ultimately decided that scaling up the Meltdown might end up being more important than a little bit wider coverage. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. Like, I'm excited about it for sure. I think there is likely something good in this deck list, and I'm not sure which portion of it is good. I think it's the Sheoldred and the One Ring side, but this Ob Nixilis thing might pop off really hard. So let me know in the comments below what you end up thinking of this deck list. Let's battle. I mean, my first hand just allows me to make the One Ring on turn 1, right? Like, surely I just do that. This is going to be the world's most brutal force of will ever, though. Here we go, folks. We got 2 Lotus Petals, and then we attempt to do the thing. Nice. Draw now. If I draw artifact mana, I guess I want to play it out. All right. I see the pieces of the puzzle starting to come together. All right. What are you doing over there? The main spirit guide. Oh, come on. Come on. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, that's just so rude. Oh God, am I just? I'm just dead to that. I will never get above. Do I concede? Guess I can technically try to kill the Karn and gain some more information about what sort of deck they are. Alright. I want to play this Firebrand Archer. I will cast this card. Now, this is damage to each opponent. I cannot redirect this to a Planeswalker, unfortunately. And I don't think I probably end up outpacing Karn here. Because I effectively deal 1 damage to it each turn, but it's 1 damage each turn while my lands just get obliterated. And, yeah, that's no good for me. If my opponent can make any sort of other play in the next couple of turns, I'm in trouble. This is probably Painter. Probably Painter. I also just lose 1 every turn to the One Ring. About to lose access to that. Okay, I think I'm effectively dead. I'm going to fast forward to the end of this game, but I'm just going to wait and just confirm that they are Painter. Okay, my opponent just searched up a Grindstone with Karn. That is enough information to confirm to me that they are Painter. I am comfortable conceding here. Like, I can try to pretend that, like, well, no, they just like minus Karn, get Ensnaring Bridge, then blow up my land the following turn. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable conceding here. I think hiding information about my nonsense deck is more important than trying to string together a win through this stuff. I've got 7 cards in my sideboard that I can consider for this matchup. Mana Barbs is relatively slow against my opponent's like Soul Land, Spirit Guide, Mana Acceleration deck. I probably don't do that here. I know that my opponent is playing Karn. I still think the One Ring is just good enough that I deal. Sheoldreds are good. Sheoldreds are a way to kill through an Ensnaring Bridge. Bowmasters are medium. They can be okay versus Goblin Welders. This is probably a trim, don't cut situation where I still want access to just about everything, but maybe not in the same numbers. Like, I probably do something like bam, 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 bam. Actually, Burning Inquiry is kind of awkward here, right? Because my opponent recycles things from their graveyard. Back up. How does this look if I cut Burning Inquiry instead? It makes my Bowmasters and Sheoldred slightly worse. It also technically make my Ob Nixilis kind of worse, because like Bowmasters plus this is supposed to be fuel. Do this? Sure. I'm going to keep this. I don't think I'm using Chrome Mox here. I think this is just Swamp, Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Sheoldred. Cast this on turn 2. Treat this like a mulligan that maybe is worth damage later on. And I'll fetch Swamp specifically because I know Magus of the Moon is a card that is going to be in my opponent's sideboard, if not in their main deck. So here we go. Let's Sheoldred it up. This is a card that is outside of removal range of Lightning Bolt. And this makes something like an early Karn much less damning. Also makes Fable of the Mirrorbreaker worse for what that's worth. Mountain. They've got something they can do because they're thinking very hard about something. Spirit Guide, Lotus Petal. Oh, yeah, that is indeed awkward. There's a lot of Sheoldred damage. All right, so I will go ahead and fetch here. Get Badlands. Play this Archer. And now the question is, like, do I attack? I think I still attack. I think the 4 damage is just very valuable. Like, I think this game is a life total race more so than anything else. I have 6 power in play, plus Sheoldred triggers. Oh, yeah. Although they did bin a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. And how good would Ob Nixilis as a draw be? Like, play Ob Nixilis, cast Chrome Mox, ping with Firebrand Archer, counter on it. I am not going to trade here. Again, I think this game is about damage. Like, I think damage is how I race my opponent's combo. Goblin Engineer, sure. Finding Mox Opal. All right, drew a blank here. Chrome Mox right now worth 1 damage. Sure. Let's ping my opponent to 7. Obviously no imprint. Attack with both creatures. I'm okay with this trade. Yeah, if you're going to do that, you should have done it on your own turn to prevent damage. But I don't know. I guess if I don't attack, you can save the Lightning Bolt. All right. They are at 3. They are dead in a turn cycle to a Sheoldred trigger. So they have to combo off this turn without drawing any additional cards. They have 3 mana, 5 mana is possible, which is not enough for Painter combo. And they can't really bring that back. So I guess something like Fury plus another Lightning Bolt could do it. Oh, I guess their last card being Pyroblast could do it. And then they Pyroblast the Sheoldred. Yep, okay. I need to do a single point of damage here. My opponent does not have access to Grindstone as of right now. An Orcish Bowmasters, for example, is lethal. A Sheoldred is lethal. Hey, a Sheoldred. Excellent. Alright, so we get to take it to a game 3. Firebrand Archer may be a little worse than I thought. Like, it is direct damage, but it's direct damage on a body that's not going to be very good at attacking. Because my opponent just has a bunch of generic small creatures. So I think I might, on the draw here, go ahead and bring in an extra Ob Nixilis and then just play a couple of Pyroblasts as counterspells for when my opponent is doing their thing and actually has Painter. And if I draw it early, I can just like throw it under a Chrome Box or something. This is going to be a tough to evaluate hand because I can play a 4-drop on turn 2. I'm not exactly doing the most other than just that. Like, I don't have support for either one of those cards in this hand. Maybe that's just fine. Like, maybe with all the random card draws that I should be expecting, like, this is just perfectly reasonable. Alright, my opponent starts out on a Grindstone. And I'll just start out on a Badlands here. I technically have a Sheoldred's Edict available. I would like not to use that. Resolves. Everything's blue, you say? I get to Pyroblast this. Thanks for turning on my spell. Alright, so I get to choose between Sheoldred and Ob Nixilis here. Without support, I think I play... Oh no, I can't actually play Sheoldred this turn. I can't play Sheoldred till next turn because I don't have black. Alright, decision made. Good talk. This unfortunately does die to Lightning Bolt in this matchup, but my opponent's probably not on like a full playset of those. There's probably just a couple copies of it. The first counter here matters a whole lot, because as soon as this is outside of Lightning Bolt range, it's hard to remove. That's fine. We've got a Sheoldred's Edict to help cover that. Damn it. No. Dark Ritual doesn't do me any good right now. It might be okay in the not too distant future. I will go ahead and, as I talked about previously, grab Swamp just because Blood Moon is a thing that I do care about. So the next question is, like, how quickly are these constructs going to scale up? So they're probably 5/5-ishes next turn. Double Sheoldred's Edict. We've got a whole playset of Sheoldred and Sheoldred-related accessories here. My mana's a touch awkward in terms of casting multiple spells, but I think that just is what it is. Alright, so my opponent goes to 14. And then I'm going to go ahead and eat this token end of turn at the cost of 2 life so that I'm always getting the one that will be attacking next turn. And if it really comes down to it, I can cast a Dark Ritual into a Sheoldred's Edict on my opponent's turn here. If I just super need to clear a creature. I'm trying not to use this other Sheoldred's Edict, though, because I want it to be my protection versus Painter. Alright, so there's the token. And they're going for some mana stability. Painter plus Pyroblast is a thing that I'm scared of. Phyrexian Dragon Engine. This is inconvenient for me because I can no longer use Sheoldred's Edict to remove a Painter if that were to happen. I think I let this... Or no, if it enters from the graveyard, it does the Unearth thing. I think I'm always killing this token, and I would like to be able to cast a 4-drop that I play on my turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5, 6. I guess I can always still cast a 4-drop that I draw. Yes, so I should give myself the chance to draw Meltdown. Oh my god, I am a genius. Uh, that felt good. Yeah, so I just cast Meltdown for X's 3. That destroys all of that stuff, including this artifact land. Then I get to bash in for 4, putting my opponent to 6, which is actually like putting them to 4, which is probably actually like putting them to 2 because of Ancient Tomb. What a brutal, brutal draw on my end. And like I just have another Sheoldred, and I have another removal spell to force through any sort of blocker that my opponent plays. Hello and good luck. All right, we have gotten the GGs in chat here. That was a very good first showing for this deck, despite that Karn just immediately winning the game in game 1. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and the reason I say that is it just has so much functionality. So for example, let's take a look at some random legacy deck here. You can click on your various 2-drop slots and you can see what % chance you have of casting various things on curve, and you can get a breakdown of your mana symbols and all of that stuff, and there's a lot more here than just this. Consider checking it out. All right, playing as much mana as we are, this sort of thing is going to happen occasionally. We will have to mulligan that. Turn 1, the One Ring. After a mulligan. Delicious. Probably throw back Bloodstained Mire. So I think I'm going to just bin Bloodstained Mire here. And we shall YOLO. The YOLO did not work out well last time, but this time I believe in the YOLO. I don't think I draw my card immediately here. I think I'll draw it on my opponent's turn to play around discard. Because this time around I have a Firebrand Archer, so drawing something like a Lotus Petal would be better later. Bobble? Black Saga Storm, maybe, is my current guess off of seeing 2 cards. Dark Ritual into Orcish Bowmasters would be a huge punish for me waiting. Alright. I'll lose my life. Alright, now my opponent's going to look and see what I have. Man, I am afraid of Orcish Bowmasters. Ooh, this is good. I would love to get this in play this turn. Not happening this turn. Might happen next turn. Probably will happen next turn. We lose City. I play an Archer and pass. And I can potentially pop off next turn. I don't know if it'll be a full combo kill or anything, but like, it is about to happen. I just need 1 mana. No. No. Although, I don't know, maybe you do take this. Like, double Firebrand Archer plus 1 ring is very scary as well. Maybe you leave me with the Ob Nixilis. Okay, yeah, my initial gut feeling was correct there. Alright, let's draw some cards. Yes. I kill next turn. 1 more colored mana, and I would probably kill this turn. I think my plan is to just flash in an Orcish Bowmasters on their turn. I think that's better than playing this out, given the texture of the rest of the hand here. Okay, yeah, definitely feeling like Black Saga Storm. So we're gonna deal a wee bit of damage to ourselves here. And then, oh, this is where the fun begins. Okay, so I think I always just want more colored mana this turn. I think I am comfortable fetching another Badlands immediately. Mana Barbs is going under a Chrome Mox here. Alright, here we go. So, play this. Chrome Mox, worth 2 damage. Imprint, Mana Barbs. I think I want to cast at least 1 Dark Ritual here. And then it's just a question of like, how much stuff do I leave in hand for burning inquiry purposes? I think I do this and have access to red, and then attempt to double burning inquiry. but I'm not doing any math here. Triggers. You. Go ahead and always yield to that. We will play a Boy. Get my opponent to 3. And you know what? We'll cast a Dark Ritual as a 2 damage burn spell. Put my opponent to 1. Alright. Combo potential has been realized. That was awesome. Deck's sweet. So I probably don't have a lot to play against this deck. I'll probably play 3 Meltdowns and call that good. Assuming my opponent is Black Saga Storm, they are going to try to win quickly, so Mana Barbs is maybe not at its best. And maybe I go down 1 Ob Nixilis, although I don't know, I really wanted 1 that game. Okay, this hand is very good at punishing draws. This is going to be a turn 1 Orcish Bowmasters into a turn 2 Sheoldred. That's very good both as far as hate and pressure goes, but we could lose the game sooner. Alright, scary amount of stuff in play here. Duress is actually annoying. Very good against, it's very good at stopping the acceleration that my hand has to offer. Oh, yeah, that's aight. That's aight. Fetch a Badlands. For 1 mana, we will destroy each artifact with mana value 0 or less. And 3 for 1 our opponent. That was absolutely disgusting. My opponent just said, "No, you didn't." Yeah, that was rough, friend. That was rough, admittedly. Yeah, so I get to play. Oh, do I play? Man, I really want to play Ob Nixilis, but I think it's correct to just put the Bowmasters into play. I'm sad about it. I'm very sad about it, but in case any sort of Echo of Eons type nonsense ends up happening, I think I'm supposed to play this one this turn. Ob Nixilis starts looking hot next turn, although again, it might just be correct to play Sheoldred and maximize on the combo hate. Yeah, let the record show Ob Nixilis is very, very, very good here. But just... Ooh. Yes, that's fine. And this is sort of one of the reasons why I didn't just jam Ob Nixilis, despite every single bone in my body wanting me to do so. This is just worth so much damage. And I can Ob Nixilis next turn. There will not be a next turn. We're 2-0. Okay, I am on the draw with this hand. I'm going to keep this hand. This hand has a turn 2, the One Ring. And maybe a turn 1, the One Ring, depending on what I draw here. Ooh, we're probably playing against Show and Tell? Oh, fuck. Understood. My opponent has paradigm shifted. Yeah, they are a Thassa's Oracle deck and presumably have their kill in hand. I guess I should take a picture of this and not be a lazy Magic player. Alright, that's most of their deck. So I probably need to play the One Ring and try to draw into something that I don't really know. I don't expect to win. But damn it, I'm going to try. Does playing this win me the game more of the time? No, the One Ring randomly messing with my opponent via protection maybe is more relevant. Let's draw a card. But I just expect that my opponent is going to draw a card, play an island, play Thassa's Oracle, and I'm just 100% dead to it. But who knows, like maybe this messes with something in some capacity. It does not. Okay. My random Sheoldreds and Orcish Bowmasters are going to be very good against what my opponent is doing. Pyroblast is solid. Sheoldred's Edict can answer both Hull Breachers and Narsets. There's no Karns over there that I have to worry about. Versus combo, Mana Barbs is slow. Mana Barbs is for control matchups. Burning Inquiry is awkward against the Narset Hull Breacher deck. So I probably cut those. despite the fact that, like, they really scale up my damage very well. This is turn 1 Pyroblast, turn 2 the One Ring. This is perfectly reasonable. This is it's going to be Badlands and pass. I will probably Pyroblast pretty aggressively, just because I'm going to tap out a decent number of my turns, including my next one. That does so little against my deck, generally speaking, but is so annoying given the texture of this specific hand. Sheoldred's Edict is cool. The safest possible play is to just hold that up. There's no possible way that I can get got. But given that I'm already down 2 cards, I think I need to just get this card into play. And then I can hold up Sheoldred's Edict or use Sheoldred's Edict next turn and tap out for the One Ring the following turn. Shelldock Isle. That's an oldie. Chromox is cool. Chromox means that I can play the One Ring this turn. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I will cast a Chromox and take the 1 damage now. Imprint Dark Ritual. I'm going to go ahead and attack with Firebrand Archer for 2 points of damage. I have to worry about Hull Breacher into wheel effect. I think I'm on coward strats. Like, it's so bad if I'm wrong, but I am wrong. I will go ahead and just fetch to thin here. It just feels like I'm dead a good portion of the time if I don't hold up this interaction. Not literally dead, but basically dead. And then as soon as I'm on 6 mana, it becomes reasonable to tap out for the One Ring. Yep. The issue with playing the way that I am is it just makes it easier to get a kill with something like Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, that otherwise would cost a large amount of mana. Alright, there is a Narset. I don't think I respond to the minus. I think I let my opponent choose. Because a wheel, I think, is favorable for me. A Null Rod. Very annoying. Why don't you sacrifice a Planeswalker? Alright, Narset is gone. My opponent's at 8. It's a scary place to be with a couple Ancient Tombs around. I'm going to leave a Badlands. Or no, I guess I only have 1 Bloodstained Mire left and it can fetch basics. Yep. It's fine. My opponent's probably not playing something like Back to Basics given their land spread. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and hit my opponent for 2 here. Bring them to 6. Go ahead and cast a Sheoldred. Makes me very good against wheels. Rats. Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast may look like the same card, but they're not. This one says destroy target permanent if it is blue. I can still cast this as a 1 point of damage burn spell with Firebrand Archers. Let's attempt to deal 2 more points of damage. That is probably denied. Okay. It's a fine trade for me. Go ahead and drop Ob Nixilis, which might kill our opponent next turn. Notably, I could have potentially Pyroblasted a different turn to have my opponent deterministically dead to 1 Ob Nixilis hit. Awkward. I don't remember if I've ever just fully left mana. Yeah, I have fully left mana up for a turn. I am going to go ahead and just cast this to get protection from everything. I don't know that that's relevant, but it's relevant enough that my opponent Force of Negation did. My opponent's Ancient Tombs are now off, and they are in top deck mode. Narset into a wheel doesn't do it. Yeah, okay, cool. So I know my opponent is playing Null Rod. I could play Meltdown specifically for Null Rod. I only have 12 artifacts, and I don't really care about their Chalice of the Void. Like, I know that that stranded 2 cards in my hand temporarily, but I only have 6 1-drops at the end of the day. There's only probably 1, maybe 2 Null Rods in their deck anyway. I don't think I'm going to adjust to play Meltdown. This is a turn 1 Orcish Bowmasters. I will keep that. I will have to kind of decide what I'm going to do regarding mana here. Probably imprint Ob Nixilis given that draw. I could technically Sheoldred on turn 1, but I'd rather be better. And I think I just sorcery speed this before my opponent has any chances to, like brainstorm into an extra card. And then next turn I get to just like play Sheoldred as a follow-up, which is strong. I have been so tempted. So incredibly tempted by the Ob Nixilis greed here. So I don't have to worry about Hullbreacher being flashed in here, so this attack should be fine. And because of Null Rod, I don't think I just throw Spirit Guide under here right now. I think I hold that, because as of right now, I can cast Sheoldred this turn, and then an Ob Nixilis through a Null Rod next turn using Spirit Guide. Impulse, notably, is card draw that doesn't technically draw the card. Alright. The life loss begins. Thought Lash is annoying. Alright. This do damage. It prevents damage, okay. May end up just losing to that, despite being very good against a huge portion of the rest of the deck. Alright, my opponent thought for a while and then let it resolve. So we are fully at the mercy of my opponent finding a Thassa's Oracle. It's possible they end up exiling all of their copies of it, but it's pretty unlikely. So the game is largely out of my control at this point, unless I draw a Pyroblast, at which point I've got some pretty sick blowout potential. Alright, so the loss of life from Sheoldred still works through Thought Lash. So my opponent can't just, like, do a draw 7. Oh, come on. Alright, they just had the Thassa's Oracle. I'm not going to make them click through that. I am unfortunately dead to that. GG's. Alright, what? So this is round 4 now. We're 2-1. I will be keeping my hand. I have very strong turn 1 plays. I just have to decide which one I'm going to take. I have one of my 4 drops as my turn 1 play, followed by Orcish Bowmasters on turn 2. Unless we need to get saucy and play a Bowmasters on turn 1, because my opponent like fetches Dryad Arbor or something. That is probably worth a Spirit Guide. I'm gonna think about it for a second. Saving the Dark Ritual is my way that I get Sheoldred into play, so let's play Bowboy and ping down a Dryad Arbor. And then I have options for which one of these I play on turn 2. I think it's Sheoldred to punish Glimpse of Nature. I'm going to be lazy and do this pre-combat. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and drop Sheoldred. We're very, very, very good against Glimpse of Nature and Elvish Visionary now. And then we can start using the One Ring to get better against random natural orders and stuff, closing the game out. So some scary things can happen this turn. Like, my opponent is technically capable of casting a natural order by playing like a Gaia's Cradle, for example, or a land drop 3 mana, bounce a forest, untap Dryad Arbor 4 mana. They've got a couple different ways they could cast a natural order. But if it doesn't happen this turn, I feel very good about my board. Burning Inquiry at this point is a board wipe, by the way. That would be a hot draw. Land drop pass? Land drop pass. This could represent an Endurance. That's something to keep in mind. I think I am going to start by just playing the One Ring here and drawing my card to see if my one card is exactly Burning Inquiry, because it's so stupid good if it is. It is not. So I'm always attacking with Sheoldred. I'm always attacking with Orc. I don't care if I lose this to an Endurance, but I care a lot if I lose this to an Endurance. I don't think I'm going to expose that body. That may be me missing a point of damage, but I'm not sure that a singular point of damage is going to be super relevant. when I just get to, like, fog with the One Ring repeatedly. Alright, there is a Cradle. 5 mana, 6 mana, Archon. Spicy. I have no idea what they are supposed to name. Artifact is reasonable, so I can't play another copy of the One Ring. That's fine. Alright, sure. Let's draw some cards, shall we? Ooh, yeah. This is I can't cast them. I can't cast them. I would be fine trading Sheoldred for Archon. That would be a profitable trade for me. Let's go ahead and crash on in there, and then I'll plan on playing a post-combat Ob Nixilis. The only question is, do I take 2 damage to do it? I don't really feel like I have to take 2 damage. Alright. We've got some good stuff going on. My opponent has to win the game this turn, or they're dead to Sheoldred. And I played this game in the way that did not result in me taking 2 extra damage, so I'm less likely to die to some Craterhoof nonsense. My opponent cannot draw any extra cards or they die. What do you got? It is a natural order or a Craterhoof. That is not lethal damage. 8, 16, plus 4, 20. I'll take it. Actually, I can block with Ob Nixilis and just kill this. Yeah, that seems fine. Not dying to the One Ring anyway. Alright, so Ob Nixilis dies. I lose a little bit from the One Ring. Not a problem. I gain some life here. I have a lethal attack. My opponent didn't untap their stuff. I can also just draw some bonus cards here, gain some additional life, bringing me to 13. And my opponent has conceded. Yeah, I also can just, like, play. So, like, I can attack in with all my stuff. It's presumably lethal. If not, my opponent has to block Sheoldred, then I just play another One Ring and fog again. Disgusting. Okay, so in sideboard construction in the deck tech, I talked about how I was considering that meltdowns should potentially be Hidetsugu Consumes All. And the meltdown for X equals 0 won me a game, but this round is a situation where I, like, very much would want something like Hidetsugu Consumes All or Plague Engineer or something like that. So we'll feel that here a little bit. I will probably play some Edicts, and that'll probably be about it. Mana Barbs is slow here. Again, we have played against a lot of decks with combos today, which means Mana Barbs is not going to be good. I do not want to cut Burning Inquiry this round because, like, the interaction with Orcish Bowmasters is, like, how I get a board wipe. And from there, it's like, do I trim Ob Nixilis or Firebrand Archer? I think the fact that Ob Nixilis flies is pretty important. It's also just more looks at things that can hurt my opponent's board. I think I go Archers out. Okay. Turn 1 City, Spirit Guide, and Chrome Mox on one of these 2 cards is a turn 1 4-drop, which is probably good enough to keep this hand, and then I will use my draw step to inform which one of these ends up being better. Quarian Ranger is fine. Awkward. Now I basically have to imprint Ob Nixilis to get the black here to do this, but it is just fully correct to do so. And then I can probably do some very disgusting, not safe for work things next turn. Notably, I can Simian Spirit Guide Burning Inquiry right now to just deal a ton of damage to my opponent, but I think it is better to not do that and let them play more creatures, and then play the One Ring next turn, followed by Burning Inquiry. Do I even care about the One Ring anymore? I don't think I care about the One Ring anymore. I think I just do that. Oh, that's so filthy. It's so incredibly filthy. Alright. So I will play another Bowmasters. Go ahead and ping Quarian Ranger. And then I will cast Burning Inquiry. Triggers. One of those will go at Dryad Arbor. All of the remaining ones will go at my opponent's face. Let's yield to those. So, my opponent is now taking 9 points of damage. They can't really draw any extra cards for the rest of the game, and I just get to play the One Ring next turn to get protection to last another turn. That was absolutely disgusting. Derek, shoutouts to you for the idea in deck construction. We lived the dream. Alright, it's just a land drop and pass. Attempt lethal. You can play something like an Assassin's Trophy on the Orc. Yeah, that's fine. You still take 2 points of damage. I can't play Sheoldred this turn. I don't have black, but this is still a very strong draw. I think I wait to draw this card because I guess my opponent could play an Inquisition of Kozilek or something. Yes, you have elves for now. And let's start drawing some cards. The life loss here is very much not a problem. There's black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can Sheoldred's Edict as well here. Why don't you sacrifice a non-token creature for me? This just takes a mana away from Gaia's Cradle. We'll attempt to swing in for 2 points of damage, which is working. Float 2 mana. Do this. Go ahead and fetch a Badlands. Play a Petal. And drop Sheoldred, which kills my opponent in their draw step. This is absolutely gross, folks. I love this deck. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm just supposed to keep a hand that plays Orcish Bowmasters and does nothing else. I feel like this is worse than going all in on one of the 4-drops. Yes, this is a keep. But which way do I play this? Ancient Tomb, Imprint Orcish Bowmasters, Simian Spirit Guide. It's a keep. I have to imprint Bowmasters so I have access to black mana in the future. And if I'm imprinting this for black, then I don't have red to cast this. Alright. Imprint. Do this. Please, no counterspell? Nice. I don't need to draw this card immediately, as there's very few things that I would play out right now. It's basically just Lotus Petal. Humans. Well, here's to hoping that just... yeah, okay, that's fair. Will I draw Lotus Petal and be punished by Chalice of the Void? No, I will not. That's a great draw, though. That's also a great draw. So let's activate this now. Lotus Petal was a little deeper down. It's unfortunate, because that keeps me from double Bowmastering this turn. My opponent likes what they're seeing from my deck. I think I'm just going to play a City of Traitors and pass the turn, hoping to snipe a creature with Orcish Bowmasters. Ooh, it is an Orcish Bowmasters mirror. Note that I am going to play my Bowmasters into a Bowmasters, because I have a second Bowmasters, meaning that this is not a real problem for me. So we're going to go ahead and bait the Bowmasters here by tapping the One Ring. My opponent does not have it as of right now. My Lotus Petals don't do anything right now. I think I would like to do this. I think I'm just going to take damage here to play a new copy of the One Ring and just reset the amount of damage that I take. I'm going to draw my card now. I think my opponent showed me that they don't have Orcish Bowmasters, or it already would have happened. And I'll just drop a new city. I'll attack with both. My opponent goes to 17, and I'm still just holding up Orcish Bowmasters. Ooh, there are initiative creatures over there? There are initiative creatures over there, sure. We can use another One Ring to hold the initiative after attacking in with multiple creatures. So, Bowman, ping you. Lose a life at my upkeep here. Draw some cards with the ring. There's Firebrand Archer, which turns Lotus Petal into a live card. So I think the way that I want to do this, let's just attack and take the initiative first, and then go from there. All right, so my opponent does not block. Given hand, I'll take a mountain here. I think the way that I want to do this is cast a 1 ring, pitching a Spirit Guide, which gives me protection from everything, meaning that I now don't take damage from that. So I will use that. I should technically draw this card first. Glad I did. I'll use that mana to cast a Firebrand Archer. I will use this mana to cast a Firebrand Archer. And then I will cast Shocks, targeting my opponent's face. That feels very nice. Get him. And I don't lose initiative here. Delicious. Absolutely filthy. So there's another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. My opponent does get the initiative, so Forge is a thing. But I imagine I just kill my opponent between direct damage and combat damage. I lose 1. Burning Inquiry. Yeah, that's just 6 damage. No, that's 8 damage to my opponent's face. Disgusting. Yep. Cast. Triggers. 2 damage directly. 6 damage to face. They are playing the 4th Aerlingaz build. That felt good. So I don't have a ton for this matchup. Probably 4 Edicts. I don't think I mess around with Meltdown. Again, Chalice is of limited utility on either 0 or 1, even though it does technically do stuff. I almost played Mana Barbs that match. We just didn't run into any of that like super grindy Uro nonsense in this league. Although Mana Barbs is probably was from the deck construction time, probably one of the weaker things in the deck. What are my other 2 cuts? Honestly, I'm happy with most of the cards in the deck. I wonder if I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I was supposed to play Cavern of Souls because Archer is 8 of my cards. Phyrexian Praetor, Demon. I think the answer is no, but I didn't think about that till my opponent put a Cavern on Archer. Which may just have been a bluff. They may not actually have that card. It would be really hard on the mana to play that. I think I cut a couple of Burning Inquiries. They're fine. But I think I like the small creatures as a way to threaten the initiative. This just plays the 1 ring on turn 1 and also can play a creature if I need to. This is, I think, perfectly reasonable. See what my opponent can do. It is, fuck. Land entering tapped is pretty brutal here. That probably wins them this game. I always do this tapped. I'm always playing a Chromox. Hard for me to get a 3 toughness creature out of play. Put a Spirit Guide under there, but I'm not sure if that's correct. I wish it was, I wish I had a black card in hand so that I could work towards playing an Edict. Ah, fuck. So good. Because this costs more to cast and activate, so just fucking set that to the side. Yeah. Alright. There's also a 2/1, so it doesn't trade in combat with that. We're super dead. I'll play this and put this into play tapped. But, I don't even have all my colors. Okay, so it looks like an initiative creature is also about to come down now. Yeah. This is going to be a beating, and Cleric is one of the types here, which is a relevant damage increase. Okay, yeah. I am at 11, facing down close to lethal. Yeah, I needed to be able to play that 1 ring. I can play the 1 ring as a fog effect, giving up Spirit Guide, but I just don't think I can win the game from here against this much onboard hate and stuff. Let's go to a game 3 scenario. This is a turn 2 Ob Nixilis. Unless my opponent plays like a turn 1 Archon. This is not the best versus something like a Solitude. I might just need to play a 4-drop on turn 1. I think I would keep a similar hand at 6. Badlands, Dark Ritual, Spirit Guide, the One Ring. Keep this probably Binning Ancient Tomb. Plan on playing this on turn 2, this on turn 3. Alright. Dark Rit. And Exile Spirit Guide for the ring. I believe I wait until my... Well, there's Lotus Petal exactly. Alright. Like playing a Lotus Petal would be relevant against something like an Archon. This will just be worse against Anointed Whoozy What's It. Okay, yeah, so I made a relevant play. My lands enter tapped, which is awkward. Draw some cards. Archon's so good against my deck. I think I just set myself up to play Ob Nixilis next turn. By playing this tapped this turn. I think Chrome Mox becomes my one spell, despite the fact that like this is a combo. I just go ahead and do this tapped. Now, Archon is very good tech against the One Ring. March of Otherworldly Light. My One Ring wasn't even particularly good right now, but like I get it. So black, red, 2. I'll play Ob Nixilis, and we can intend on beating this in combat. Not great against... I didn't even get to finish the sentence. Although if my opponent lets me attack and take the initiative, it's incredibly good for me. Oh my god, my opponent missed the fact that this flies. This flies. This flies. Oh my god, this flies. Block. Oh my god. Oh my god, we just won the game. We just won the game. Everything's okay. Holy fucking shit. Let's go. Yeah, yep. I get to pull a basic mountain out of my deck. I've not made a land drop yet. I get to play the One Ring to hold initiative. Get to draw a card. Another One Ring is awkward. I think I need to start working towards more land drops. Oh, maybe that's not true. Maybe I just Chrome Mox Imprint Dark Ritual to play around another Archon. Yeah, maybe that's what I do. Although if I find another soul land next turn, I would rather have made a land drop anyway. Yeah, okay. So the next thing is like, will my opponent notice that this is legendary? They missed the fact that it flew. Oh my god, they're missing it. Uh-oh, I think they figured it out. Oh, good, we played around that a bit already. Okay, yep. Okay, so I get to scry 2 here. I think I want to do... bottom. Lose some life. Draw some cards. Sheoldred and Ob Nixilis are awkward here. Like, I get time, though. Because just new copies of the One Ring buy me time while holding the initiative. I'll do this. That's my one spell for this turn. I will just draw my one card now anyway, though. Hoping to make a better land drop than that. Somewhat awkwardly. Or no, I couldn't have Dark Ritualed and Bowmastered. Alright, my opponent has taken initiative back, which is annoying. It's also just very tough for me to get a combo kill through Caracas. I have the tools to get a combo kill, I just don't have the physical ability to do it. I will cast that on my opponent's turn to get rid of one of their creatures. I guess I'm still doing this. Lets me at least hit a land drop. Which matters because the land drops are delayed. So what, this is like Orcish Bowmasters on my turn, Sheoldred's Edict on your turn. Alright. Sheoldred's Edict on their turn is awkward if they have Solitude specifically, as it's a flash creature that they could sacrifice while still getting to attack with all their stuff. Alright, sack a creature. It's gonna do it before they have another draw at Solitude. Oh wait, am I just dead anyway? No. But very close. Or no, this doing it that way kills me. Right, because I take 8. Oh, they just saved me. That was going to deal the final points of damage that killed me in my upkeep. Because they attack for either 7 or 8 here. Okay, they're just trying not to lose initiative. Sure. They don't make a land drop. My opponent is about to go to Archives. Archives is going to trigger Orcish Bowmasters. Either one of the legendary creatures I play, they can bounce. Whether or not they remember it to bounce is an entirely different thing. I think they are more likely to forget if I play Ob Nixilis than if I play Sheoldred. And I tapped wrong for this. It doesn't matter right now, but it could matter. So my opponent, before they draw their card for Archives, needs to bounce Ob Nixilis. They didn't. I get to go ahead and ping them. Okay, that's fine. They still got it in an appropriate window. Yeah, it just sucks that I can't do 8 mana, play both of these to play around Karakas. Like, Karakas plus Archon is a problem. Okay, Simian Spirit Guide is not scary. Damage is. Solitude. Gross. Alright, I am at 6. I am, I think, deterministically dead. Like, I just play another creature, it gets bounced, I get attacked for lethal, there's nothing that I can do about that. I unfortunately have to concede here. I think my opponent made some small missteps that I was not able to capitalize on. We found a weakness of this deck in the last round. Like, Archon is very, very good against us in a way that I wouldn't have anticipated in deck building. Alright, so ultimately I'm really happy with the deck that we put together here for this league. Let's talk about Ob Nixilis for just a second. Ob Nixilis did not pop off during this league, but was incredibly close to popping off, like, multiple times. Like, either I won the game the turn before Ob Nixilis would have gone off, or like my opponent answered it when I had all of the potential in the world. Let's take a quick look at the deck list here. So I really like this shell of the One Ring plus an absurd amount of fast mana. Like, this was just repeatedly very good. And this, like, pseudo storm thing that I can do with Orcish Bowmasters and Firebrand Archer was totally reasonable. I think the only thing that wasn't reasonable in the deck was mana barbs. I was just frequently finding that my opponent's decks were too fast. And against, like, a long grindy control matchup, again, like versus these Uro decks, these hot Bant decks, whatever, these 5-color monstrosities that, like, were hot Bant decks and then shoved Orcish Bowmasters in them, like, I would have kept mana barbs in and boarded in the extras versus them. This card as a 4/3 flying trampler was, like, definitely a relevant and scary body. Karakas is a bit of a weakness for this deck, playing 8 large legendary creatures. I think that's fine overall. Like, in the last round, I would have beaten a Karakas. But Archon and Karakas at the same time is something that my deck isn't going to beat, and I don't know that, like, some slight deck construction changes will beat that. Maybe we need a couple more creature-based answers of some kind, like maybe 2 mana barbs become 2 furies or something like that. The red count is a little low-ish for that, but it's hard castable in this deck since I have so much mana, and when the One Ring starts popping off, it just does really good stuff. I am quite happy with this as a first draft. I think there's good ideas here, and you brewers out there, what you're going to have to decide is, like, which portion of this is just too cute, you know? Are you supposed to just cut, like, this portion of the deck and focus in on something that looks like this, like, as the starting point? You could even go deeper and play 4 more Spirit Guides if you needed to, if you just wanted to be, like, this turbo One Ring deck. But at that point, like, are you better than the artifact version of the deck that already exists? Because if you cut things like Firebrand Archer that are some of the support for these, like, rituals and stuff, like, they do get a little bit worse. Or it may just be like you do something boring and you just go, like, 4 Caves of Chaos Adventurer, 4 copies of one of the mono black initiative cards, and then a few removal spells to help protect it, and, like, you just build a very scary deck. I think one of the advantages of this deck over something like the Grim Monolith Paradox Engine, Paradox Engine deck, is that not everything is just attached to artifacts. So like a null rod can get played against you and like it will impact the game, but it's not like a null rod hitting play against that deck where it's just like, oh, okay, I've got 4 Urza Saga as the only thing I can possibly win the game with. Yeah, so thumbs up. Maybe we'll mess around with this deck a little bit more in the future. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about Ob Nixilis and the shell more generally speaking. I had a lot of fun playing it. And remember, if you end up needing some copies of Ob Nixilis, Cool Stuff Inc., use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. And folks, I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!